Okay, this is part two of our recentering or pick me up series. And by the way, the background here is one of my mandala arrays. This is jumping cholla cactus flowers. And I'm going to start using this anytime I'm doing a Zoom video. I'm going to use one of my arrays as the background. Kind of a nice new feature that Zoom has. So we talked about the EFT tapping. You can also tap all over your body. You might want to at times, if you have the time, take in a little while and tap all over your body or certain parts. It also can be helpful if you've got a sore knee or something to tap around it, um, or a sore shoulder, and so on. So you might experiment with some of that. Another one that I want to talk about is just simply taking your hand and putting it over your heart chakra and just relax and feel the energy here and kind of breathe it into your heart. And you can use the sound either audibly or silently. Ha, 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 or hum, 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 hum. There are other options there as well, and so you might want to experiment a bit with that. But breathing into various parts of your body and your chakra system is a very good way to get those energy centers activated and the energy flowing through them. I would like to show you another one that Zach Bush um, came up with, and I've never seen anything that works as well. You take your um, first finger and your thumb of your left hand and you wrap it in your right hand and just put it in your lap. And he says that it balances your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous systems. And if you're feeling off centered or need a little pick me up, again, this is something you can do most anywhere at any time. And you'll find it has a very nice effect. And with a little practice, you can feel the current. And he talks about visualizing a favorite peaceful place. But I generally just simply kind of breathe in, slow my breathing down, and just make the intention to settle down and center and let this work. And the balancing of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems is a big part of what meditation in general is about, and yoga as well. And in our modern society, we tend to spend too much time in sympathetic mode. If we're stressed or carrying too much tension, then we're always in a fight or flight mode. And we'll talk more about this at another time. but it has its place. But if we're constantly in a stress mode and got the epinephrine, the cortisol going, and so on, it can lead to adrenal fatigue and a constant state of tension and stress that leads to disease. And you can break that up into dis-ease. So we're either at peace or we're in dis-ease. So the parasympathetic nervous system balances that, and it's sometimes referred to as the rest and digest um, nervous system. And when you have a threat, like as we evolved, if a saber-toothed tiger jumped out at us, then we would need to have the sympathetic response, which would shut down the immune system, shut down digestion, shut down any um, restorative and healing activities of the body, and take the blood flow and the energy from the internal organs and put them to the extremities so that we could take our spear and fight off the tiger or run away from it. Well, this system was beautifully designed for our survival. But the idea of it was that once we got away from the tiger, we climbed a tree, outran it, or we got it to run away by poking it with our spear, then the threat was gone and our body would come back to normal, and the cortisol and so on would dissipate, and we could come back to the rest and digest um, mode where we could digest our food, continue to keep our immune system active, um, take care of renewing cells and neurons, and um, generally doing all the necessary housekeeping functions of all the various organs. So when we are spending enough time in the parasympathetic nervous system, then we keep our immune system and the health of our body at a high level. Um, and but when we are spending too much time active and stressed and in tension and don't take enough time to balance that, then we're basically wearing our body down over a period of time. One other tapping thing that goes with that is, again, as I said, this overactive sympathetic system over a period of time can lead to adrenal fatigue. So if you take your fist and your adrenals sit right on top of your kidneys, just below the rib cage, just to either side of your spine back here. If you take and tap this way, again, not too hard, you want to stimulate, but not shut down your adrenal glands. This can be a very helpful thing to keep things balanced that way. For our life-changing books this time, I want to mention three by an author that was an important influence on me. I was raised Catholic and became an atheist for a time, and um, read a book at one point while I was still an atheist by Joseph Chilton Pierce, Pearce, called The Crack in the Cosmic Egg. And basically, that egg is our worldview. We all have some sense of reality and have an idea of how this world functions and is put together. And what he talked about in this book were various things that show that for most of us, our worldview is too limited. So the idea of his book was to put a crack in our cosmic egg so that we could expand our consciousness and our worldview, our cosmic view, to encompass a wider view of reality. Well, he did put a crack in my rational, materialistic, scientific viewpoint, but it wasn't enough to totally disintegrate my way of looking at the world. But he wrote a book later called The Magical Child that I read at one point when I was in the hospital. And in this case, it came at just the right time. I had gone as far as I could with that rational, scientific point of view, and I was at a breaking point, and this book helped put me over the edge to where I experienced what you could call an epiphany, or what I often refer to as some kind of born again experience. That's how powerful it was for me. At any rate, I came to expand my worldview, to take in the existence of God. I realized there was a God. I had faith come over me and felt that there was possibility of healing for me, and I was able to give up drug and alcohol abuse and just generally made lots of changes in my life and committed to a spiritual path. More recently, I've read a third book by Joseph Chilton Pierce called The Biology of Transcendence. And it, along with the last book I mentioned by Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, the two of those books together really open biology up to spirituality. And a theme of mine for a long time has been to come to an integration or balance between East and West, science and spirituality. And this book is really helpful along those lines. So I would recommend any of those books for you if you feel so inclined. That's all for now. Thank you.